We back. Morning grind. Y'all know what it is. It's the boxing clinic, you dig. Got one 9 boxing video coming after this. And we'll see how the news comes in as today about boxing. And that let you know how much boxing content we have. But it's your boy CJ Goodfellow. We back with that boxing clinic talk, early morning grind. And I seen an interesting question asked in the boxing group. I forgot who asked it, otherwise I will get them credit. And we're going to speak on it. Would a win for Deontay Wilder over Luiz Ortiz be more impressive than Anthony Joshua's win over Vladimir Klitschko? Now, most of you hating ass mofos out there on Deontay Wilder, no matter what he does, y'all going to try to take away from what he done. And get mad at people for trying to tell you guys that Vladimir Klitschko was old, coming off an 18-month layoff, and lost to Tyson Fury first. Tyson Fury is the one that opened up the floodgates to the heavyweight division. If it wasn't for Tyson Fury, Klitschko and Joshua wouldn't even have fought for a world title. Plus Luiz Ortiz in there as well. Because when Tyson Fury beat Vladimir Klitschko, for some reason he didn't want the rematch. I let all his titles go, and Charles Martin got the title and basically handed it over to Anthony Joshua, and then Luiz Ortiz let Vladimir Klitschko and Anthony Joshua fight for the title belt. And then Joshua was such a pussy that, he was scared to face Luiz Ortiz. And that's how you get an Ortiz versus Deontay Wilder. And I think, to get off topic for a minute, I think Showtime has something to do with that. Because they didn't want Anthony Joshua losing to Luiz Ortiz with their TV deal. And they knew there was a high possibility that can happen. They'll rather have had Deontay Wilder lose to him than Anthony Joshua, because Wilder doesn't have a TV deal. And Wilder doesn't come with that popularity and those fans that Anthony Joshua does. So I think Showtime played a huge part in, Ortiz facing Deontay Wilder. But to get into the question, Anthony Joshua's case, I think his win was overblown. And of course, I knew they was going to overblow it for the simple fact that people just erased out their mind that Tyson Fury and Vladimir Klitschko fought. And Fury handled them pretty easy. And the reason why people weren't happy with Fury is a couple of reasons. First of all, the fight wasn't exciting. It was boring. But Fury dispatched him. And what most people don't know about that fight was Vladimir Klitschko tried to put a substance under the ring, so to halt or slow down Tyson Fury's movement. That's how worried he was about Tyson Fury's foot movement and awkward movement. He tried to put a foam substance under the ring. Team Fury had the foam move from under the ring, and Klitschko trying to get a competitive advantage. But that doesn't get out there because, he's not one of those hated fighters. He's a lovable loser anyway. But, his cheating ass tried to do that. But Fury still, they found out, took it up. Fury still did his thing and beat him. Tyson Fury gets no credit for freeing the heavyweight division up. Anthony Joshua, for some reason, gets that credit. But he beat a guy that Tyson Fury had already beat after a 1.5 year layoff. And then, on top of that, he went life or death with him. He got dropped, didn't punch for 3 or 4 rounds. Thank God Klitschko wasn't able to pull the trigger no more, and came back, got his second win late in the fight, and did what he had to do in spectacular fashion. And that is seen as one of the greatest modern day heavyweight fight of this generation. And rightfully so. It was a great fight, but, he fought a 41-year-old guy. His resume ain't the most impressive one, and people giving him credit for doing what he was supposed to do. Beating an old guy coming off a loss that's in the twilight of his career. Now, it depends on how Deontay Wilder wins versus Luiz Ortiz. If he beats him in spectacular fashion, then yes, you got to give him the credit. If he goes life and death with him, I think still, yes, you have to give him credit. This is a guy, Luiz Ortiz, who is perhaps the most skilled heavyweight. I'm not saying he's the best, but he's the most skilled heavyweight. He might be a one-handed fighter, but, he got a lot of skill. He is coming off a long layoff as well. The guy, Derek Rossi, he was supposed to fight, actually dropped Bermane Stiverne, and some people, from what I'm hearing, thought Derek Rossi beat Bermane Stiverne, but Ortiz injured his hand and couldn't, had a fight out there in New York. This is a guy that y'all was telling me was the boogeyman before Anthony Joshua, became prevalent on the scene. I heard, Ortiz is going to do this, Ortiz is going to do this. Oh, he's the dominant, he's the next great heavyweight. And after Irish Mike Perez little flame went out, and when Ortiz beat Brian Baba Jennings, who we wanted to see Wilder match up with for years, you guys were screaming, or a lot of you guys were screaming, Ortiz, King Kong, y'all was all on his jock. And a lot of y'all guys gonna lie about it. Oh, he'd kill Wilder, he'd do this. But Wilder tried to make the fight happen before. He failed a drug test. And, if Wilder dispatches him and he does it in spectacular fashion, I probably would rank that fight ahead of that. But I don't know, man, because can't be a hypocrite here. Ortiz is coming off a long layoff, a hand injury as well. He's almost 41 years old, like Vladimir Klitschko. He doesn't have the wear and tear or the accolades that Vladimir Klitschko has. Even though he's the most feared heavyweight in the division, Klitschko was the heavyweight king. So I still would rank Anthony Joshua over Vladimir Klitschko as a better win. Now thinking about the circumstances, it's similar circumstances. A lot of those things run parallel with each other. And I just think Vladimir Klitschko was a higher caliber fighter. I understand that Ortiz is undefeated, but he had two lackluster outings versus Malik Scott and somebody else that's falling. Oh, Tony Thompson. Shout out to Tony Thompson. That's the homie. And it seems like he was exposed by those guys. What people saying, and we're gonna see what he does on the big stage. But he's definitely a talented fighter. But he's almost 41 as well. He has a lot of skills, but at the end of the day, he's a one-handed fighter. I like Vladimir Klitschko's, accolades a little better. I don't know if Ortiz's chin is thorough, 100. He's off the pads now. And with Vladimir Klitschko, we know he didn't have the greatest chin, but, you couldn't take away from what he did. Even at 41, he seemed to have a little bit left in the tank. Well, Ortiz was 38, reportedly could be a little bit older than that. So it's close. It's close, but I still rank the Anthony Joshua fight higher than a win over Luiz Ortiz for Deontay Wilder. And as Deontay Wilder does some spectacular shit. But can't be a hypocrite. You got to call a spade a spade. It'll be close. It depends. If Wilder blows through this guy like 1 or 2 or 3 rounds, then you got to actually, give it some thought. But I don't think that's going to be the case. I'm favoring Ortiz right now, but I could change. But let me know what y'all think.